All right, here we are, another episode of These Old Guns. In this case, it's the powder horn. The powder horn stories and myths. Now let's talk about they. We all know who they are. They say. They say never load from a powder horn. Well, yeah, never load from a powder horn. Although on TV they would chuck it in the musket and do that and throw a ball in. And I'm talking about that. Why is there a fuse in here? We'll get to that. One very knowledgeable person of they said how they, 200 years ago, would determine a powder charge for their musket by saying, take your powder horn or powder flask, put the ball in the palm of your hand like that, cover it with powder, and that'd be your starting charge. And as soon as you went up, when it started cracking, now you're breaking the sound barrier. That's a good charge. So I tried that earlier. I'm not going to do it here now. But when I did this 44 caliber round ball, when I covered that with some 2F powder, cupped in my hand like that, came out to about 40 grains of powder. That's not a bad starting charge. And I said, well, let's try the larger one. And we did a 685 round ball. And when I did that and covered it with powder by cupping it, came out to about 90 grains of powder. So it does work, as it was said to me. Here's the other legend. Read an article, something about if you're going to build your own powder horn, make your own powder horn. Make sure that you seal the plug with beeswax, not glue, not epoxy, and don't use long pins or long brass nails, because you want the cork, the end of the powder horn, be able to safely blow off the end of it, just in case you violate some of the safety rules of black powder and get a spark in here and touch off the powder that's inside this horn. Legend is the cork will blow off and this will just spin around your arm or turn into a firework, but not explode like a hand grenade. Alright, so I got this powder horn off eBay. I didn't make it. They do a real nice job making it in India for like 12 or 15 bucks. If you want to make your own powder horns, God bless you, I don't. I just buy them online because they're cheap. They do just as good a job as I could do. Except, and I don't do scrimshaw either. So I took the powder horn, like 12 or 13 bucks, took a Dremel to it, and cut out the, I'm going to walk towards the camera. Still in focus here. Took the Dremel, cut out the brass nails. Carved around it, released it, took the plug out. Put some beeswax on here, heated it up, put the plug back in, drilled some holes, put some toothpick or wooden pegs in here, approximately ½ inch. So that's kind of how it's supposed to be. So this tells us that the spark gets in here, boom, nobody gets hurt. I don't buy that. I don't know if the camera can see with the sun. If you have to move the camera, you have to do another take to see where the powder charge is in here. You can see with the sun. Can you catch that in the sun? Right here is where the powder is in the horn. You can see the dark line there with the sun shining on it. Can you catch that? No? Alright, but anyway, the powder level is right there. And let me see, if my math is correct, 7,000 grains in a pound by 16, 437 and a half, about 435 grains times 3. It's roughly 3 ounces of 2F powder here, which is not a lot of powder. But I figured that's about a third, or if you want to go by the taper, half full charged powder horn. And that's it about this powder horn. What we're going to do next is set this thing up at a safe distance. I've got some safety fuse in here, which, here's an oxymoron, safety fuse. Well, it's 3 seconds an inch, so I left myself plenty of time to run like hell. And just some blue tape, one to hold the fuse where I want it to be, and to make sure no spark gets inside the horn while I'm hightailing it back to a safe distance. Because I've read a couple things on a recent site I've been on too. One, powder horn blew up when I got bent over a campfire and put shrapnel and 2nd and 3rd degree burns. Another one, the powder horn went whoosh, like a firework. Well, it may depend on how much powder's in here. We're assuming you're going to have a decent amount of powder in the horn. And we'll take it from there. And I only got one horn, so we got one take at it. So this is it, your cheapo powder horn. With about 3 ounces of powder in there. We're going to set this thing at a safe distance. We're going to light the fuse. And we're going to see what's going to happen. One, it'll go boom, and the cork will blow off harmlessly and not injuring any. Two, it may detonate or light up like a firework and go spinning around like something from the 4th of July. Or 3, it may just explode like a grenade. I'm going for 3, that's my feeling. So we'll cut right here, and I'm going to set this thing up at a safe distance. We'll light this in the name of myth busting and science and see what happens. Here we go. Name of science. Get behind the barricade, Rick. Touch off this fuse. I got plenty of time. We'll see what happens.
Run.
Got plenty of time. Plenty of fuse going in there. I would say, whether you put wooden pegs or beeswax, you don't want a spark touching off your powder head. Like 2.5, 3 ounces of 2F in that horn, and you can see it wasn't a woof or a foom or a kaboom. It was a boom. I would not want to be the guy wearing that. Lesson learned. All right, well, there you go. I guess the legend of sharp pegs and beeswax, probably not a good idea. I'm going to say keep your powder horn or any powder container far away from your cigarette, cigar, flint, flash pan, cap, or anything. Just say never load from a flask, always into a container, because so far this is what we found. I got this much from the powder horn, and I think I'm going to need some glue. If you look over my shoulder, you can see the frame. There's nothing there. And I was just thinking, I wish I painted the wooden plug orange so I could find it, because with all this brown leaves on the ground at the end of winter, I have no idea where the strap went or where the big wooden plug at the end of the powder horn went, but it's certainly shattered. These are dangerous pieces of shrapnel. I wouldn't want to be near that. That thing went off next to me. So there's one answer. We may do another one. I've heard different things about what if you had it full of 1F, packed tightly, would it go off like a skyrocket? Well, you know what, maybe we'll do that. If we had 100 grains in the bottom of the horn, would it go boom? Maybe we'll do that. But I think what you had was a powder horn with about a third full, which is reasonable. Somebody out in the field shooting that, and you saw what could happen if that thing has a spark in it. It's gone. Here's your shrapnel. Until next time, keep shooting and stay safe. Thanks.